Mr. Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and include any extraneous material on the subject of the special order hour today.
Without objection.
It is with great honor that I rise today to anchor this joint CBC special order hour along with my distinguished colleague, Assistant Leader Joe Neguse. For the next 60 minutes, members of the CBC have an opportunity to honor the life of our late Congressman, Donald Payne, a leader of great importance to the Congressional Black Caucus, Congress, the constituents we represent, and all of America. Now I would like to yield to Assistant Leader Joe Neguse.
I want to thank my colleague from Florida, Ms. Phyllis McCormick, for her leadership, and also want to thank the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, Chairman Horsford, and all my colleagues today gathered to honor a great man, a kind man, a good man, our beloved colleague, Congressman Donald Payne, Jr. With incredible style and a bone-deep optimism that was truly contagious, Don was a kind, gentle giant in the people's house, and his dedication to the people of New Jersey was inspiring. His good-natured spirit, his humor, was a comfort to us all. He used his voice, often standing in this very chamber, delivering more speeches in the people's house in this Congress than any other member of this august body, to elevate the issues that mattered to his community, to the people of New Jersey, and to the American people. And his impact has been felt and will be felt by countless folks across the state of New Jersey and across our great country, including those who benefited from his efforts to expand access to safe drinking water, to implement better pay, safer working conditions, and so much more. Above all else, he was a kind, good, decent man. I was proud to call him a friend, as we all were, and as we prepare to lay him to rest, our hearts go out to his wife, Beatrice, and their triplets. May they find comfort in their loving memories of a good, kind, and decent man. I yield back to the distinguished gentlewoman.
Thank you so much, Assistant Leader. I would like to now yield to the Speaker Emeritus, Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you very much, Congressman Phyllis McCormick, for bringing us together to honor this great person. Anyone who ever watches the House of Representatives knew that Mr. Payne was first row, first seat. Any president or head of state who came into this body had to pass him by and pay their respects as he paid his respects in return. And every day, practically every day, he did a special order on a priority. So whether it was in command of the discussion or the what happens in the distinguished visitors chair, Donald Payne was to be reckoned with. It's with immense sadness that I rise today to honor our dear colleague. As you see the flowers and the black crepe, we're all mourning him deeply. Donald Payne came from a tradition of leadership and patriotism and effectiveness and excellence. The public service was in his DNA. Many of us served with his father, Donald Payne Sr., who was globally recognized as a great leader. And long before Donald Payne Jr. was here, his father sang his praises, and one day he would replace him. During his nearly 12 years here in the House, he strengthened our legislative efforts, especially in infrastructure. At the helm of the Subcommittee of Railroads, Pipelines, and Hazardous Material, and the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, he led a fight to secure clean drinking water for every child. Indeed, even in what would be his final remarks on the floor, we heard him just a matter of weeks, he made the case for lowering housing costs and expanding supply, demonstrating his total commitment to working families in the Garden State of New Jersey and beyond. In our caucus in the Congress, Congressman Payne was beloved, truly beloved. Indeed, all of us who served with him have been blessed by his personal kindness, his sense of humor, his devotion to finding common ground. And again, he was respectful of this institution by treating it with great dignity. The dapperness of his apparel was always a source of joy to us, to brighten our days. And again, I hope it is a comfort to his wife, Beatrice, and their triplets, Donald III, Jack, and Yvonne, and the entire Payne family, that so many people mourn their loss and are praying for them at this sad time. With special thank you to them for sharing Donald Payne with us in the Congress, honored to call him colleague, and with the American people who benefit from his leadership and service. With that, I yield back with gratitude to the gentle lady from Florida.
Thank you, Speaker Emeritus. I would like to now yield to the chairman of the CBC, Stephen Horsford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To my colleague, Representative Sherfilis McCormick, thank you for leading this very important special order hour. To all of my colleagues who are here, to the Assistant Democratic Leader, Mr. Neguse, as well. I rise tonight, as our dear colleague would say to his constituents, I rise, Mr. Speaker, with my colleagues of the Congressional Black Caucus, and in fact, the entire House of Representatives, to remember a man of the people. The loss we all feel for our dear friend and colleague, Congressman Donald M. Payne Jr., is immeasurable. Words really cannot express how deeply he will be missed by our caucus, but we want to express our heartfelt condolences, our prayers to the Payne family and to his staff, to anyone and everyone who knew him. You are forever in our hearts, and we are so sorry for your loss. As chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus, it is an honor to work with my colleagues each and every day for the betterment of our constituents, this body, and our country. And it was an honor to work with a man of such good character, passion, and deep commitment to serving his community and our country as Donald M. Payne Jr. He was a kind and thoughtful person, a person who always had a good spirit despite some of the most difficult health conditions that anyone could experience. He always had a laughter and a humor about him, and an optimism that it was truly contagious. To our caucus, Donald Payne was prolific, literally prolific, on this floor. He came to this floor to speak for the people. He had a goal of being, quote, the Michael Jordan of 1 minute. And he would go on to win that award, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but the 5th award in a row. Now, for those who may not know, a 1 minute is when you come to this body and you bring attention to an issue that is important to the constituents that you represent. Despite sometimes not being up to the best of health, he found the time, every opportunity, to speak to his constituents and to speak on behalf of them. And that's how many of us will remember him. We'll remember him with a smile, that he was always dressed to impress, heading to the House floor to speak to the country on behalf of the people and the community that he loved the most. He was a man of purpose, a man of humility, and he was a public servant through and through. This House has been made better for his leadership. Congressman Payne Jr. will always be a part of the history that we've made here on behalf of the American people. And I want to join my colleagues in honoring his memory and his legacy and his life by continuing the work to fight for the people on the issues that matter to them most. May God bless your soul, Congressman Donald Payne. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to know you, to be friends with you, to serve with you, and your legacy will live on. May God bless you. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now I'd like to yield a minute and a half to the Congresswoman from California, Maxine Waters.
Mr. Speaker and members, it is difficult for me to stand here this evening as I mourn the loss of my dear friend, Donald Payne Jr. And in my own way, I adopted Donald Jr., and he accepted me as his other mother. I loved him because he was a fighter, experiencing his own health problems, but he worked hard to address the health problems in our society and to educate and legislate to get health care and support for others. He was a gentleman who all of the members loved, supported, and respected him. All of the members of Congress loved him because of his spirit. I loved his support for all others when he was having his own problems. I also enjoyed loving his dress. You know, he had those beautiful bow ties, and he wore those fabulous suits and shoes and all of his colors that he coordinated. And so I would compliment him, and we would laugh and joke about the fabulous eyeglasses that he had, and on and on and on. He was a man of style and fashion. I'm going to miss him, and I'm going to miss inquiring about his wonderful children, his triplets, and about what they were doing. And I'm going to just plain be overcome with grief and try to get some relief in the fact that I knew him, and may he rest in peace.
I'd now like to yield to Representative Sanford Bishop from Georgia.
I thank you for this time. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of a remarkable man, my colleague and dear friend, Donald Payne Jr. Donald was a kind-hearted public servant who dutifully served New Jersey's 10th Congressional District. For Donald, like his father, whom he succeeded, representing his district was heartfelt and personal. From the district of that district, he provided invaluable insight to the most profound issues facing our country, from our national security and the major infrastructure needs that keep the American people and commerce flowing, to the more personal challenges that we face, like the unique challenges of men's health care and overall health policy, and the path our country could chart to address injustice and create equitable opportunities for the country's underserved communities. He was a vibrant voice in this chamber every day, a sharply dressed messenger helping to educate us all, communicating the everyday lived experiences of Americans to help craft more compassionate policy, improve the quality of life for all, and help create a more perfect union. He was beloved on both sides of the aisle, and of course by his family and the people he served. Though he has transitioned from this life, it is my hope that his spirit remains alive in all of us, in all that we do. To God be the glory for the life and the legacy of Congressman Donald Payne Jr. With that, I yield back.
I'll now like to yield to Representative Benny Thompson from Mississippi.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that young lady from Florida giving me the time. Mr. Speaker, today we mourn the loss of Congressman Donald Payne Jr., a thoughtful leader, a dear friend, a son of Newark, who never forgot where he came from or who he served, a legislator whose kindness brought us together, even during the most divisive political times. I had the privilege of serving alongside both Donald Paynes, but Donald Payne Jr. served with me on the Homeland Security Committee during his entire tenure in Congress, and he achieved great things. When he came to the committee in 2013, the world had just come crashing down for parents in Newtown, Connecticut, whose children were gunned down at an elementary school. Donald Payne Jr., a father of school-age triplets, vowed to make schools safer in this country. It is because of him, because of his relentless advocacy, that the Department of Homeland Security is reporting to Congress on school security. And it's because of Donald Payne Jr., who wrote the Homeland Security for Children's Act, that the Department of Homeland Security now must plan for children's unique needs during disasters. Donald Payne Jr.'s legacy is making children safer. As we mourn together, let us celebrate together. Every goal, every accomplishment, every move Donald Payne Jr. made here in the halls of Congress was in the service to his wife, Bee, his children, Donald, Jack, and Yvonne, the city of Newark, and the people of New Jersey's 10th Congressional District. And Donald Payne Jr. leaves a legacy that we all can be proud of. We know how Congressman Payne was a snazzy dresser. I couldn't touch him, but in his memory, I'm putting on some of his favorite shades for this evening. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to yield to Frank Pallone from New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm honored to have an opportunity to highlight the legacy of our colleague and my friend, Donald Payne Jr. Last week, New Jersey lost a great public servant far too soon. Many knew Don for his trademark bow tie, big smile, and friendly demeanor. So let me tell you a bit more about his life and journey. Don's mother died when he was just 5 years old, and after his mother's passing, Don and his siblings were raised by his father. I think many know his father, Donald Sr., also my colleague, was the first black member of Congress from New Jersey. He was also a Congressional Black Caucus chairman. But Don Jr. tended to the trail blazed by his father by fighting for health care for all, delivering federal funding to the largest and most important transportation project in American history, and replacing lead drinking water pipes that made kids in his district sick. In honor of his father, he led bipartisan efforts to research, prevent, and treat colorectal cancer. Don was a powerful politician in New Jersey as both a county commissioner and Newark City councilman. New Jersey allowed you to hold both offices at the same time. And many felt it was a step down for him to come to Congress, but he felt it was an obligation and duty to follow his father's footsteps and was determined to make the best of it. Now, Don was always struggling with health issues from the very first day that he came here, but it didn't stop him from his work, from voting, from doing more special orders than any other member, as was mentioned by my colleagues tonight. And in a town known for sharp elbows, Don always showed kindness. He always took the time to ask how you were doing. He made sure you knew that you had a friend who had your back no matter what. And Don Payne can serve as an example for all of us. He didn't care if you were black or white, Christian or Jewish, rich or poor. We were all in this effort together to get things done that would make a difference in our quality of life. Don didn't worry about himself. He was funny and self-deprecating. If there was anything he didn't like, it was conceit or thinking that you were better than other people. And Don's goal was always to help others. And that's what he would ask of us. Work every day to make a better life for your community, your state, and your country. So this week, the American flag flies at half-mast at the Capitol in his honor. We join his wife Beatrice and his children, the triplets, Donald III, Jack, and Yvonne, in mourning his passing. But Donald Payne Jr. made his family and constituents proud. His work is done, but it won't be forgotten. I yield back.
I'd like to yield to the gentlelady from California, Rep. Barbara Lee, for 1.5 minutes.
Thank you. I want to thank the gentlelady for yielding and for bringing us together tonight. Boy, it's hard to stand here and look over here. Where is Don? Every night, here he was, speaking truth to power. And so tonight I rise with my colleagues in remembrance of our beloved friend and colleague, Congressman Donald Payne, Jr. Now, I got to know and love Don before I actually met him. His proud father, our beloved Donald Payne, Sr., made sure of that. The entire Payne family was committed to service, extending to the next generation. Don Jr.'s son was an incredible intern in my office. He was brilliant, he was passionate. He was his father a few years younger. His son, I tell you, made a major contribution to my office, and we became a better office because of Don Jr. Don Sr. and Don Jr. both, but Don Jr. was passionate. He was kind, he was gentle, and a brilliant man who was determined to not let his health challenges stop him from his visionary and his bold work. I remember traveling abroad with him. He would always take time, yes, for his medical treatments, and be right back in our meetings, providing his insight on global affairs. He showed us how to live a full life regardless of its difficulties. His loss will be immensely felt in New Jersey's 10th Congressional District, where he worked tirelessly to rebuild our nation's infrastructure, provide clean drinking water for disadvantaged communities, invest in minority-owned businesses, and bring awareness to colorectal cancer in the Black community. And we talked a lot about a variety of treatments for diabetes. As a member of the Appropriations Committee, which funds NIH, he was very instrumental and insightful in helping me with my work with regard to diabetes and cancer. My condolences go to his family and his loved one, including his wife, Beatrice, and their 3 children. I hope that they find strength in their memories and love for this great man who fought the good fight, and he fought a good fight until the end. May he rest in eternal peace and power. I yield back, and thank you again for giving us a chance to speak this evening on behalf of our beloved Congressman Donald Payne, Jr.
Thank you. I would like to yield to our Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries.
Thank the distinguished gentlelady for yielding, and it's with great sadness that we gather here today to honor the life and the leadership and legacy of Don Payne, Jr., but also celebrate that life, that leadership, and that legacy of our dear brother, who was a gentle giant, a kind, compassionate man, powerhouse in terms of his legislative capacity, though he didn't spend a lot of time promoting his accomplishments. He just let the work be done and speak for itself. But that's work that was transformational. He stood up for the people that he represented in his beloved brick city of Newark, his beloved state of New Jersey, and for people all across the country, particularly underrepresented communities in the area of healthcare. He was a champion in providing access and information and affordability to Black men and to other historically underrepresented communities suffering from disproportionate high rates of ailments. And that's a legacy that will be with us in this Congress, in this country, and indeed throughout the world for years and decades to come. It was my honor, along with Joyce Beatty and Robin Kelly and Stephen Horsford and Mark Vesey, to come in to Congress together with Donald Payne, Jr. He often made reference to the fact that he arrived a few months before us in a special election, so we affectionately called him the dean of the class of 2012. And what a great dean he was. What a great man he was, what a great colleague and friend he was, and may he forever rest in power.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. I would like to now inquire on how much time is remaining.
"34 minutes remaining."
Thank you. At this time, I would like to yield to Representative Yvette Clarke from New York.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the gentlelady from Florida for yielding. I rise today on behalf of the people of the 9th District of New York, the Clarke family, and myself to remember a true gentleman from New Jersey, the Honorable and Incomparable Congressman Donald M. Payne, Jr. Just about everyone who knew Donald was blessed by my dear friend will remember a man with unwavering principles guided by his belief that every American deserves an advocate willing to fight for their best possible future, not to mention his incomparable sense of style. Those bow ties were just classic. When I think back on my time serving alongside Donald throughout his 6 terms in the House of Representatives and the precious time we shared, we both served on the Committee on Homeland Security together. One of the memories I have is of him deep into the early morning in a defense of Secretary Mayorkas during the sham impeachment proceedings, as he admonished those who chose to laugh at the depiction of an officer. And as they continue to move different issues forward that were certainly not truthful. And for those who chose to laugh at a depiction of an officer on horseback who was using a whip at human beings on the border. The second instance is of his righteous anger at the existence of a challenge coin commemorating the abuses of Black and brown migrants that they faced at our southern border. Each of these stories exemplify the singular commitment to justice and moral courage which defined Donald's tenure here in Congress. We supported one another in our districts, and we would move back and forth, him coming to Brooklyn, New York, and me going to Newark, New Jersey to be of support to one another. We shared so much in common. Our sense of humor, our sense of fashion, and our genres of music. We often talked about the fact that when we were young ones or younger ones, we would frequent the same nightclubs right there in Newark, New Jersey. And that was one of our bonding moments. I can say with confidence that all of Congress will miss Congressman Payne's leadership, kind spirit, and unparalleled dedication to making progress dearly. So to Beatrice and the triplets, to his loved ones, friends, and staff, I send you love and light and extend my heartfelt condolences during this season of your bereavement. And I will miss my brother, my dear friend. Rest in peace, Donald Payne, Jr. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you. I would like to yield 1 minute to Representative Stacey Plaskett, representing Virgin Islands.
Thank you to the gentlewoman from Florida. Thank you for anchoring this time. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud that we've been gathered here for this evening to celebrate the life and the legacy of our dear friend and colleague, Congressman Donald Payne Jr. When I came to Congress, I knew of his father, Donald Payne Sr. I'd gone to Georgetown's Foreign Service School, and all of us Black students knew of the work of his father in elevating Africa. But I came to learn of his son, Donald Payne Jr., and understood that he was just as passionate as his father, that he, in fact, elevated the legacy of his father by forging his own trail in the issues that were important to him. We've lost a great man in the House, but Newark, New Jersey, the state, his staff, and especially his family have lost a dear loved one who can never be replaced. We must keep his legacy going. Impeccably fashioned sense, kind of heart, warmth, and a very wry sense of humor. Very quiet, but it was there. It was very edgy at times. Donald Payne was, above all, a gentleman. He was a leader in healthcare, and especially with screening for colorectal cancer, Black men's health, and ensuring affordability. He had many initiatives for supporting initiatives for disadvantaged communities. I was proud to co-sponsor H.R. 3382, the Colorectal Cancer Payment Fairness Act, and H.R. 1765, the SNAP Benefits Fairness Act, alongside with him. Mr. Payne was an advocate for minority and low-income communities and a voice of support for my home, the Virgin Islands. He was there with us after the hurricanes in 2017 of Irma and Maria. He was a man who always dealt in common sense, in kindness, in what is right. A man that put people over politics, and our friend. He will be dearly missed. I yield back.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to inquire on how much time we have left.
27 minutes remaining.
Thank you. I would like to now yield to Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman from New Jersey.
First, let me thank the Congresswoman for affording me this opportunity, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am heartbroken by the passing of my dear friend, Donald Payne Jr. Like myself, Don came from a family legacy of public service, and we bonded over discussions of our trailblazing fathers and the work that they did together in New Jersey. I cherish the 10 years that I had the honor of working with Don on issues that were important to us, such as access to child care, improved transportation, and of course, fighting cancer. I will especially remember our time on the Homeland Security Committee, where we both chaired subcommittees dedicated to protecting vital infrastructure. I loved him like a brother, and he would often call me his sister mother, depending upon whether or not I was giving him a hard time about his health or some other issue. Donald was a dapper dresser, always with matching glasses, matching bow tie, and matching suit. He's a true gentleman, a loyal friend, a great representative, and my husband and I will pray for his soul and pray for the comfort of Beatrice and their children and family. We loved him dearly. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you. I'd like to yield to Representative Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas. I'll yield to Representative Gottheimer from New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for convening tonight's session. I rise tonight to honor the life and legacy of our very dear friend and colleague, Congressman Donald Payne. Donald, as everyone knows, was larger than life. I love that picture of him, and if you could see it in color, it'd be even better, because he brought so much color everywhere he went. His suits, his personality. You couldn't but have you in a room with Don, he lit it up. And not only was he just a great friend, but a great father and husband and an incredible advocate for his beloved city, Newark, and Jersey overall, and all the hardworking men and women he represented. He spent his entire career serving Jersey, including as a distinguished local official of the city of Newark and of Essex County. It was such an honor to serve here with Don. When I was first elected, Don was there for me. He showed me the ropes and shared his wisdom, was never shy to rib me a little bit in the Jersey way with his humor and his kindness, and of course his signature bow tie. His legacy will live on through his advocacy and his tireless championing of issues facing so many Americans, health issues and issues of clean drinking water for families and reliable transportation and great infrastructure. The mark he left is everywhere in New Jersey, and more than his personality, it's the policies he left behind, and he will be missed but never forgotten. His legacy will live on in a big way in the great state of New Jersey. So my prayers are with his wife and his 3 wonderful children, and I hope they can find great solace in the work he left behind and the positive impact he had on millions, not just in Jersey, but across our great country. Thank you, and I yield back.
I'd like to now yield to Representative Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas.
I thank the gentlelady from Florida for yielding to me what I hope would be 25 minutes. I thought I heard that correctly. But what a privilege to know Donald Payne Sr. and to know Donald Payne Jr. And I sat here tonight listening to my colleagues struggle with how they would describe this wonderful giant of a man. Each came with their own excellent presentation. And what should we say about our dynamic duo of dad and son? And I thought again how privileged I was and am to have traveled with Donald Payne Sr., the dad, and to have sat next to Donald Payne Jr., the son, during the course of Homeland Security and a number of other committees. Let me tell you a thing or two. Both of them knew how to make you laugh. Both of them had a sense of joy and love for people other than themselves. And to his wonderful bride and his wonderful twins that I would ask about in their early years, let me tell you that he never forgot you and always loved you dearly. What I loved most about Donald Payne Jr. was that he took life's journey and he turned it into making life better for others. He was not so much worried about himself, but in Newark's journey, he wanted to turn the disease that black men would always be impacted by into the corner that would help black men have better health. He would confront this idea of cancer that was so devastating to black men, to be able to encourage them to learn about their own lives and to say, we're going to fight this thing and we're going to beat it. That was the way Donald Payne led his life, that the cancer that he had to fight was going to be a cancer that he was going to win. He believed in encouraging black men to look at their own health, look at yourself in the mirror, black men, and stand up and be a man and live long a life and live the life that we can live together. Let's not shrink away from the challenges that confront our community. Let us talk about that life and let you have the best life you can possibly have. So for the life dealing with health care and cancer and black men, he wanted them to be able to confront it head on, and we did that. Isn't it interesting that I remember him garnering $900 million for a transportation project, the same $900 million that I got for a transportation project. We're excited that we could take our love of transportation and bring those dollars home to Houston and to New Jersey. So I just want to say there is much and more that one can say, but I wanted to bring home the bacon, if you will, and no, it will not be that. It will simply be the love we have for our fellow human being, our neighbors. That's what we both hope that we taught to each other and to our neighbors. And I hope that in spirit, he will rest in power and rest in peace. But let me remind you, Newark, New Jersey, and to his family, whatever he had in life, he was willing to give to others. That's what he will leave us. Whatever he had, he wanted to give to someone else. Let us shout and celebrate his life and his legacy. I see you. Rest in power and rest in peace. God bless.
Thank you. Now I'd like to yield 1 minute to Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota.
Thank you so much. It is an honor to join my colleagues to honor the life and legacy of the late Congressman Donald Payne Jr. Donald was one of the first people to say hello to me. I recognized his name as soon as he introduced himself. I had met his father as a young girl in a refugee camp in Kenya. We talked a lot about his father's love and wishing the best for those of us who were born on the continent and how much he desired to carry on some of that work. I got to see him almost every single day getting ready to do his 1 minute and would get an opportunity to check in with him. He not only showed up for every 1 minute, every time it was scheduled, but he showed up and fought for his beloved community every day he was in office. His dedication to following his father's legacy by serving others, his deep human decency, his commitment to the people of New Jersey will have a lasting impact for generations to come. I will miss our chit-chats. I will miss seeing his beautiful smile. And I will miss knowing that he was here to cheer me up. I am sending love and light to his family, to his staff, and to all the people who loved him. May he rest in power.
Thank you. I'd like to now yield to Representative Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts.
Donald M. Payne, Jr. of New Jersey's 10th District. Born into a legacy of service, but forged his own path. He was warm, witty, and a warrior. A happy one, but a warrior. A warrior for transportation justice, for workers' rights, for health care, for gun safety, for clean water. He never wavered in his exuberance for life or for this work. He was a prolific orator, especially on the House floor. I'll always remember him smiling, Natalie attired, wearing a colorful suit, bow tie, glasses, and sometimes a fedora that I would ask him to loan me. I'll remember him heading to the House floor with purpose to speak on behalf of the people and the community that he loved. Mr. Speaker, Black men deserve to grow old. I'm heartbroken as I consider consecutively and collectively the loss of Elijah, John, Elsie, Donald McKeechin, and now our beloved Donald M. Payne, Jr. It breaks my heart that we are losing yet another member of our historic Congressional Black Caucus. He was an exemplary member of Congress and an even better man. Job well done, Congressman Payne. Rest in peace, in power. Your legacy will live on. Our deepest condolences to Beatrice, to Donald, to Jack, Yvonne, all of your family, by blood and by bond, including your staff.
Minute to Representative Mickey Sherrill from New Jersey.
Thank you. I rise today to remember our dear friend and colleague, Donald Payne Jr. He was a model public servant, a man who represented the best our state had to offer. From a very young age, he strove to make New Jersey a better place for everyone. He brought his personal experiences to the halls of Congress, fighting to expand access to health care, which, no question, changed people's lives. He was an expert when it came to modernizing our nation's infrastructure, and a partner I turned to as we fought together to make the Gateway Tunnel a reality. But as you've heard, Donald was so much more than just an expert policymaker or a thoughtful legislator. He was a kind, kind man. I remember when he said to me one day, you know, Congress can be a lonely place. If you knew Donald Payne, it was never a lonely place because he was always looking out for you. He was always bringing a smile to so many faces, even though he was going through such difficult health struggles. He always made time to ask how you were doing. He always had his bow tie, his sharp suits on, and he'd always take a minute to smile when you complimented him and to say how great it was to see you. He's going to be missed. He's a presence here that will be sorely missed by all of us. It was an honor to call him a friend. It was an honor for many years to call him my congressman. And it's an honor to speak of him today. May he rest in peace. Thank you, and I yield back.
I would like to yield to Rep. Andy Kim from New Jersey.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to honor the memory of my colleague and my friend, Congressman Donald Payne Jr. It's difficult standing in this chamber knowing that we'll never see Donald walk in here and sit with us again. I remember the first time that I sat with him here in these chairs. I was a brand new member of Congress, and he was willing to share a quiet moment with me as I was unsure of myself in this extraordinary yet overwhelming place. When I sought his advice, he told me there's no single way to be a member of Congress, but he suggested I focus on, well, all of us focus on being ourselves and delivering for our state and our constituents. In some ways, with so much going on, it helped give some clarity and elegant simplicity to this intimidating yet complicated work that we do. I will remember Donald for his kindness, as many have talked about today. I will remember Donald for the pride he took in his community and his state. And I will remember Donald for his incredible dedication. These are the things we would all be proud to be remembered by. The things we carry with us as we pick up his work to move it forward. He loved his job. It was an honor he never took for granted, and you could see it in everything he did. My thoughts are with his family and his community. Donald, we'll miss you. I yield back.
I'd like to yield now to Representative Troy Carter from Louisiana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my dear friend and colleague, Congresswoman Shirley McCormick. We're here to honor the memory of a dear friend and colleague, Congressman Donald Payne Jr., a remarkable public servant and a true champion of justice, equality, and progress. I was honored to serve alongside him on the Committee of Homeland Security and Transportation and Infrastructure Committees. Donald Payne was not just a public servant. He was a force for change, a voice for the voiceless, a beacon of hope for the people of New Jersey and all Americans. He dedicated his career to fighting for racial justice and equal rights. He believed in a future where education was accessible to all, championing free college tuition and sustainable infrastructure that would benefit everyone. In Congress, he demonstrated the exceptional leadership, serving as the ranking member and chairman of the critical subcommittees focused on transportation, infrastructure, and emergency preparedness. His commitment to improving public transportation, expanding voting rights, and addressing the urgent threat of climate change earned him respect and admiration from colleagues on both sides of the aisle. But beyond his legislative achievements, Congressman Payne was known for his unwavering dedication to the well-being of working families and those most vulnerable among us. He understood that progress is measured not only by the laws we pass, but by the lives we touch and uplift. As we honor Congressman Donald Payne Jr.'s legacy today, let's commit ourselves to renewing the values he held dear. The Congressional Black Caucus will continue to fight for justice, equality, and opportunity. May we always remember the unwavering belief that our nation's greatest lies in our ability to lift each other up and build a better future together. Rest in power, Congressman Payne. Your legacy will continue to inspire and guide us in the noble work of serving the American people. You will be sorely missed, my dear friend, but never, ever forgotten. I yield back.
I would like to yield now to Representative Rob Mendez from New Jersey.
Thank you. Thank you to my colleague for yielding. I rise today to pay tribute to the life and legacy of my friend and colleague, Congressman Donald Payne Jr. Congressman Payne was a fierce advocate and a dedicated public servant who fought tirelessly throughout his distinguished career for the city, county, state, and country that he loved. He wasn't just a member of Congress, he was a pillar of hope and strength for the community he served and the people who he represented and who he loved. He was a mentor and a role model to many, myself included, always willing to lend a helping hand and offer words of encouragement. This institution can be intimidating, but having a big brother here made it home. His passing leaves a profound void in our delegation and in this institution. The halls of Congress will be a little less bright and a lot less stylish without him. And I will miss the looks he'd give me when we were getting into some good trouble in committee or on the House floor. It was a privilege to serve alongside him. As we remember our friend, let's recommit to the ideals he lived by: justice, equality, and the pursuit of a better tomorrow for all. In doing so, we can honor an incredible congressman and a man whose life exemplified the best of what it means to serve others. Thank you for everything, Don, and we'll carry you with us. I yield back.
Thank you. I would like to yield as much time as I may consume. It is an honor to stand before you today and express my deepest appreciation for Congressman Donald Payne Jr.'s outstanding dedication and remarkable achievements. As we gather here tonight, I'm reminded of his immense impact that one individual can have, not just on their district, but on the entire nation. His dedication to addressing critical issues facing our society, from healthcare to gun violence prevention, economic equality to social justice, is a legacy that will endure for generations to come. Furthermore, Congressman Payne Jr.'s leadership on international issues has been nothing short of exemplary. As a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, I've had the privilege of working with him on various issues. Let us continue to support and honor his legacy by working together to build a more inclusive future for all Americans. Thank you, Congressman Donald Payne, for your friendship, dedication, leadership, and service. The 10th Congressional District of New Jersey was truly fortunate to have you as their voice in Congress. May you rest in power. Congressman Donald Payne would always be here for every special order hour. We can all rely on him to be here with his smile, with his encouragement. I remember the first days when I first started in Congress, he was always supportive. He stood with me on issues that affected Haiti and the Caribbean and Black issues. He stood with us when we had to do special order hour and came here. He always had a speech for everyone. He always had a mission to make sure that his district and the communities he served had a place in Congress, but more than that, had a voice in Congress. Donald Payne will be missed as a great friend to the Congress, as a great friend to me, as a great friend to everyone in Congress who we knew. We will think of him every single day, his smile, his laugh, his joy. So as we remember him today, it is a sad time for us, but we find joy in knowing that he's in a better place. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to inquire how much time we have left.
Approximately 4. Gentlelady has about 4 minutes remaining.
I would like to enter the comments of Representative Joyce Beatty to the record.
Without objection. It will also be covered by general leave.
That concludes our joint CBC and Assistant Leader Joe Negus's special order hour. I would like to yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 9, 2023, the gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Schwartz,